You know, there's an old saying that I probably had hung up in my old middle school gym locker, but it says you either get better or you get worse, you never stay the same. And unfortunately, the latter is happening for us here on the Ravens Rundown because last year's like record was 316 likes on a video, and we're halfway through February, and we haven't even passed that yet, okay? We're trying to get better every single day on this channel, and for you guys to help me do that, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Like today's video, let's set a new record for 2025. Coming up on today's show, we got the latest rumors surrounding Davante Adams trade, a Lamar Jackson extension, possibly a Deebo Samuel's trade in there as well, and then what's the latest on Derrick Henry as his contract is going into his final year with the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to do this in a fun new way, though. We'll be doing this every single week during the offseason. We call it the rumor meter, okay? If it's 0 purple crabs, that means it ain't going to happen. Don't trust it, okay? 1 purple crab means a small shred of truth. It could be happening. 2 of them means people are talking. 3 of them means it's pretty likely. 4 of them, you could go ahead and bank on it. 100%, in my opinion, going to happen. And there's a lot of rumors out there, and what I like to do with these segments is we like to cut straight through it. You can hear it straight from me, what you should believe, what you shouldn't. And we're going to start off with a trade for Devante Adams. I'm going to give this one a don't trust, okay? Do not, under any circumstances, trust this one, okay? And for multiple reasons. Number one, this all came down after Ian Rappaport reported that this week the Jets are officially moving on from Aaron Rodgers, okay? And so a lot of people automatically thought, hey, if they're moving on from Aaron Rodgers, maybe they want to move on from another old vet that's taken up a lot of their cap space, being paid a lot of money in Devante Adams. And if you remember, right before the trade deadline, right before he got dealt to the Jets, we made a couple of videos about him possibly ending up in Baltimore. An old podcast resurfaced of him answering a question on how he would feel about, catching for 800, 900 yards, but winning a title, possibly with a guy like Lamar Jackson. Here was his answer. I've had big seasons. I don't necessarily need the 1,700. That would feel great, but if you're giving me a bowl and I get out there with Lamar and have fun, I think I might take that 800 to 900. And so the reason, in my opinion, that this is a don't trust, that this is 0 purple crabs, is because I don't think you need to trade for him, okay? I personally believe there's a good chance he ends up getting cut, and I'll explain why, okay? So, teams can designate 2 players to be post-June 1st cuts, and they just announced that they're moving on from Aaron Rodgers, and I personally believe that Aaron Rodgers will be that post-June 1st cut, okay? And the thing about it is if you get cut after June 1st, you don't see that money until then. So if, the New York Jets want to rebuild, they're not going to put a guy who's going to save them a ton of money off the cap until after June, because if they want to make moves in free agency, they want to see that money as quickly as they can. So Aaron Rodgers is going to be that post-June 1st cut for the New York Jets. And so if you cut Devante Adams before that, you'd save $29.88 million. If you cut him after that, you'd save quite a bit more, about $36.16 million. But you also have to take into account, like I just said, they're in rebuild mode, okay? They're moving on from A-Rod. They're moving on from Adams. They're going to want to do things in free agency, and if those 2 guys, both of them are post-June 1st cut guys, you don't see any of that money until after that. Barring anything you do in free agency, you know what? Just kind of out the window, at least with their money. So what would a trade look like if it did happen? It wouldn't be as costly as you might think, okay? He went for a 3rd rounder to the Jets this past year. I think that's going to go down pretty significantly. I think you get a guy like Devante Adams for just around a 5th round pick. I think if anybody's willing to trade for Adams, willing to take on that cap space and that cap hit, I think the Jets going to say, sure, we'll take a 5th rounder, okay? But with Baltimore's current cap situation, they can't afford it. Flat out. Plain and simple, $9 million left in cap space as of right now. However, the playoff this past year did prove that this team could use another wide receiver. Zay Flowers goes down week 18 against Cleveland. Everybody's heart drops, including mine. And we all saw that in that game against the Bills, you could have used a guy like Zay Flowers in there. And hell, if he's not in there, might as well throw a guy like Devante Adams in there as well to be some subsequent help in this receiver room. And so I don't think a trade will happen. I think there's a small chance that, you maybe sign him after he gets cut, but he's not cut yet. So I'm saying don't trust it. You're not going to trade for him. And if you want them to trade for Devante Adams, do me a favor, like the video. If you want them to add Adams to this roster, add him as another wide receiver weapon for Lamar Jackson, go ahead and give me a like. Number 2 on our offseason rumors roundup, what about a contract extension for Lamar Jackson? He's a pretty big cap hit, and I'm going to give this 3 purple crabs. Okay, I can see this actually happening. And when you look at the numbers and when you look at what his contract counts against the cap this year and the years to come, it's pretty outstanding. Okay, as in it's outstanding from everybody else on this roster. He's a 15.9% hit on the Ravens cap this year. That bumps up to a quarter and then just less than a quarter the 2 years after, because he's almost $75 million against the cap in 2026 and 2027. So I'm going to project a contract. Let's say 3-year extension, $62 million a year, which in my opinion, and I believe in your opinion as well, the 2-time should have been 3-time MVP is worth every single bit of that. You can see what you save each of those subsequent years with the new contract, with the new extension. You'd save $15 million from the 2025 cap hit, and you'd save $40 million from both 2026 and 2027. So with all that being said, I'm a firm believer of that they should extend him. But I think the big question of the matter in this situation is, will they? Okay, we all know that the contract extension and the deal he signed a few years ago, 5 years, $260 million, that all came a little bit tougher than any of us wanted it to, but it got there. It happened. We're thankful for it, but now you're sitting at a place, you're hamstrung because of his cap hits, especially in the next 2 years, and you want to keep him on this roster, and you want to help your team, yourself, this front office, be a little bit more flexible with the cap, okay? So I think it should happen, but the question is, will it? And that's why I'm asking you guys, okay? Will the Ravens extend Lamar Jackson? Answer it for me in the comment section down below. A simple yes, a simple no will suffice. Let me know your answer in the comments. The next rumor we're talking about is a little bit Deebo Samuel to the Ravens. And I know we've talked about this week already, but I kind of want to dive back into this one because I got a lot more thoughts on it. But before that, I got to tell you about our awesome sponsor of today's video, and that is our great friends over at Fanatics. I don't know if you guys have seen the deals that they've got going on right now, but it's actually incredible, okay? You can get this sweet Lamar Jackson shirt for 30% off, okay? I like to call these jerseys, and sometimes if you want to be a little bit more comfortable, but rock your favorite team, rock your favorite player, that's when these jerseys come in great handy. But wait, there's more, because they're also got that nice, sweet purple quarter zip, $25 off. All you got to do is head over to chatsports.com/RavensQZip, or if you want the jersey, the Lamar Jackson shirt, you can head over to chatsports.com/Lamar shirt. The best deals you're going to find on any Ravens memorabilia, any Ravens swag, you can find it right there on Fanatics. So again, chatsports.com/Lamar shirt, chatsports.com/QZip, or Ravens QZip. You can head over there right now. That link to the promos in the comments and description of today's video. So what do I feel about the Deebo Samuel to the Ravens news? Rumors, I should say. I'm giving it 2 purple crabs, right? Like, people are talking, Adam Schefter's talking about it, but I don't necessarily see this as anywhere near a guarantee. This is what Adam Schefter had to say when he was on the Pat McAfee show earlier this week. Said, I could see him in Baltimore. I could see him at a lot of those places. Any of those AFC North teams make sense. And he's saying that because of, the fact that pretty much every AFC North team besides the Cincinnati Bengals needs a wide receiver or could use a wide receiver, could use a weapon like Deebo Samuel, but that's just, I don't know if it's worth what you'd have to give up and then what you have to pay him once he got here. Because if Baltimore trades for Deebo, they would owe him a total of $17.55 million in salary and in bonuses. And all of this has to just come back to the fact that the Ravens are pretty hamstrung at where their cap space is right now. But then also, even if you could pay him that money, that $17 million, sure, it's not as expensive as other wide receivers are going for right now, like the CeeDee Lambs, the Amon-Ra St. Browns. And that's because, in my opinion, Deebo Samuel is a massive step back for them. And he's only getting worse, okay? We talked about this just this week, but you got similar wide receivers. He's declining, and he just can't separate anymore like he used to. So, when you think about a trade, you have to give up trade assets for him in your draft picks, which the Ravens have plenty. That's not a problem. But then once he gets in the building, you got to pay the man. And for a guy who did this against press coverage, a 47.4% catch percentage, only 9 receptions, 179 yards, all of that on 85 routes against press man coverage, like that's just not a guy I want in this building, and that's just not a guy who I don't think is worth the money, okay? Deebo Samuel was great. He was such a great tool, such a great Swiss Army knife in that Kyle Shanahan offense, but he's lost a little bit of his step, and it's not worth the trade. It's not worth the money, in my opinion. Make the call for me. Will Baltimore trade for Deebo Samuel? Type it for me in the comment section down below. T for trade, P for pass. Let me know your answer right now. The last of our offseason rumors roundup is, should the Ravens extend Derrick Henry, or will the Ravens extend Derrick Henry? And I'm going to just tell you right now, you can bank on that, okay? Give me 4 purple crabs, the first one in the history of this show, because I believe it's happening, okay? Ian Rappaport tweeted this out on Super Bowl Sunday, talked about what the insiders on NFL Game Day were talking about. If you look at all the way at the bottom, he says Ravens and running back Derrick Henry set to start extension talks. His contract right now looks like a base salary of $6 million. He's a $12.9, almost $13 million cap hit. He does have a $1 million roster bonus coming soon. And so let's say he signs a 2-year deal, $24 million. That would result from his cap number jumping from $12.9 million all the way down to $7.9 million, saving almost $5 million in cap space. And the best thing about this is this is a win-win for both Henry and the Ravens front office, okay? Henry gets his contract. He gets to stay here a little bit longer. This offense gets to keep Henry in their system a little bit longer. But also, he gives you $5 million of cap relief. And what have we been talking about this entire episode? Where the Ravens are right now in their cap space is not good enough. So extending a guy who just got you 1,900 freaking yards is a no-brainer. Okay, because it saves you a little bit of money too. And he talked to Diana Rossini at the NFL Awards just last week, and he said he wants to retire a Raven. Okay, so it's 3 things here. It's obvious he wants to be here. It's obvious that Baltimore wants him here. And it's obvious that he's coming off one of the best seasons of his entire career. Okay, so this one's a no-brainer. Ian Rappaport said they're set to start extension talks already. So I guarantee you they're already talking through the numbers, already talking through the money, already talking through the years. It's just a matter of time until it's decided on, until it's announced. If you enjoyed today's video, I had a ton of fun doing it. Let me know if you liked it as well. If you want to see these in the future, by hitting that thumbs up button, okay? Like today's video if you love the new little wrinkle we throw in. And you know what, guys? If you haven't already, you found the best place for Baltimore Ravens coverage right here on YouTube. So hit that sub button.